of the Yugioh structure deck, Dragon's Roar. This is a structure deck which came out in the official card game or in the trading card game, which is the OCG or the TCG, and it's one of the first iterations of decks outside of the main character structure decks, following the structure deck Marek. In the TCG, this is referred to as the first deck. In the Korean OCG, the structure deck Dragon's Roar was also released on December 15th, 2005, and it was combined with the structure deck Zombie Madness, which I've previously already reviewed, as well as a specialist style structure deck set. Ferocious dragons and ravaging zombies clash in these two new structure decks. The structure decks are tournament tough, ready to play with out of the box, with powerful, hard to find cards. Each deck contains 40 cards, including one brand new ultra rare monster, rulebook, and a dueling guide, which assists a duelist in taking his game to the next level. So we're going to be reviewing exactly what these cards are. Some of the features of the deck include the dragon type monsters, which were used by Night Shroud. The Atticus Rhodes, Night Shroud was his kind of dark side, which was brought to life by Kagamaru, who was the main series 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX villain, as well as Chaz Princeton and his armed dragons. Significant cards in this include Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, which is the cover card, Creature Swap, and Armed Dragon at level 5. The Let's Power Up This Deck, which is a set of booster packs, it's meant to supplement the power of these decks, suggest combining this with Buster Blader, which came from Dark Beginning 1, Judgment of Anubis from Dark Revelation Volume 1, Inferno Fire Blast, Armed Dragon level 7 and level up from Soul of the Duelist, and Covering of Fire, Mirage Dragon, Mystic Swordsman level 6, and Monster Reincarnation from Rise of Destiny. Armed Dragon level 7 is also available as a promotional card in Structure Deck Deluxe Edition. Horus the Black Flame Dragon is shown, but has yet to be described in there. So as you can see, we'll be starting to cover these cards. I'm just putting up the page for Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. And here we go. This is Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. It's a Dark Attribute Dragon type level 9 with 2,400 attack and 2,000 defense. It cannot be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned from your hand by attributing one Red Eyes Black Dragon, and it gains 300 attack for each dragon monster in your graveyard. You can consider this to be the upgrade of Red Eyes Black Dragon, similar to how Blue Eyes Shining Dragon is the upgrade of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. The difference is this is quite significantly weaker. The original Blue Eyes Shining Dragon has the same effects to gain 300 attack points, but it starts off at a higher base rate of 3,000 attack points. Plus it has a non-targeting negation effect, which this doesn't. This just gains 300 times the number of dragons in your graveyard. So the more you have, the more powerful this card becomes. It would take you to have 7 dragon type monsters in your graveyard for this card to be boosted up to the level of a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And even within its summon, say that you use 2 cards for the tribute summon of the Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then you tribute over that to bring this card out, that's 3 additional cards in your graveyard. That makes this a 3,300 attack monster. Alternatively, you can use the Red Eyes Black Chick to cheat out the Red Eyes Black Dragon and then go into this. In that case, this would only be a 3,000 attack monster. It's not really that impressive for a monster just because it can be very easily beaten over and it has no protection effects. It's just meant to be a beat stick style of card. Right, so the next card we're going to be looking at is the original Red Eyes Black Dragon. And here we have it. This is the original Red Eyes Black Dragon. This is the normal image, but you actually get an alternative artwork for it. It's a Dark Attribute Dragon type level 7 monster, has no effect, with 2,400 attack and 2,000 defense. Same stat line as the Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, however this card is the key basis of how the deck likes to interact, and therefore you require it within the deck itself. Luster Dragon is a Wind Attribute Dragon type level 4 with 1,900 attack and 1,600 defense. A very beautiful dragon covered with sapphire. It does not like fights, but has incredibly high attack power. This card is one of the most powerful monsters to be introduced of the dragon types at that time. Considering 1,900 attack for a level 4 monster, it's very difficult to get over without having a tribute on your opponent's side to beat over this card, or to destroy it by some type of card effect. The next card we'll be looking at will be the Twin-Headed Behemoth. Behemoth, that's it. And there we go. Twin-Headed Behemoth is a Wind Attribute Dragon type level 3 with 1,500 attack and 1,200 defense. Its effect is, during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was destroyed on the field and set there this turn, you can special summon this card, but its attack and defense become 1,000. You can only use this effect of Twin-Headed Behemoth once per duel. This card is useful in terms of being able to use it again. It has that recover style of effect. However, the problem with it is it does special summon itself to become weaker, and that would be fine if it could do that at any point, but this has to be during the end phase. This means that, okay, you're going to be able to get it out at a point where it depends on when your opponent has destroyed this card. If they've destroyed it in battle and it's just finished, then it actually revives at the end phase of their turn, which means it can be used as part of a tribute. However, if it's destroyed, for example, by your opponent on your turn, and it's by some type of effect, be that a spell or trap most likely at the time, you're most likely going to then recover this at your end phase, and then I'll just roll over this card again with a simple battle phase. Armed Dragon level 3 is a Wind Attribute Dragon type level 3 with 1,200 attack and 900 defense. The effect is, during the standby phase, you can send this card to the graveyard, special summon one Armed Dragon at level 5 from your hand or deck. This was the signature card used by Chaz Princeton in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and it was the kind of the smallest version of that card. It's not particularly powerful, but if combined with Mars Dragon, for example, when that's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you then are able to bring this card out, then you can almost guarantee it ending up on your turn, being able to go into the level 5 version of itself. Armed Dragon level 5 is a wind attribute dragon type level 5 with 2400 attack and 1700 defense. You can send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, then target one monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to the sent monster's attack, destroy that target. During the end phase, if this card destroyed a monster by battle this turn, you can send this card to the graveyard to special summon one Armed Dragon level 7 from your hand or deck. This is the medium form of the Armed Dragons. It's kind of the bridge between the monsters you're able to summon just by tribute summoning, and going into the monsters that have to be special summoned by some sort of requirement. For example, the Armed Dragon level 7 and the level 10 have to be special summoned by their effects, rather than being able to be summoned just normally through tribute summons. The effect of this card, just to discard any monster and be able to wipe out a monster of your opponent's with attack equal or less than that attack. It's perfectly fine because it's not dependent on this card's attack, it's just dependent on whatever you discard. So if you've got something like Chaz, Princeton used Despair from the Dark, that was always typically the monster he had in his hand. It has 2800 attack points, which means that when it's sent to the graveyard, you're able to wipe out something equivalent to that amount. Alternatively, since you might not necessarily want this card to hang around for that long, you can do what Chaz did, which was to generate tokens on his opponent's field, battle over them using this card just to guarantee that this stays on the field, and then level this card up at the end of the turn. The downside of doing this is, whilst Armed Dragon level 7 has 2800 attack points, it only has 1000 defense points, so that is subject to cards such as Block Attack, which could change the monster's battle mode. Black Dragon's Chick is a Dark Attribute Dragon type level 1 with 800 attack and 500 defense. You can send this face-up card you control to the graveyard to special summon one Red Eyes Black Dragon from your hand. Now, the problem with this card is that it's just mainly there as a tribute for your Red Eyes Black Dragon. It doesn't really have a stat lineup for itself. So if you don't happen to have the Red Eyes Black Dragon in your hand, then this card can be quite useless. It could be a dead card. The other problem is it would have been nice if it had been able to be summoned from the deck or have some alternative effect as to how to protect this card, as otherwise your opponent just uses this as one giant target. This card has had a name change, a bit like the Red Eyes B Dragon. It used to be called B Dragon, not Black Dragon. And then it's had a fuller kind of naming to it. This used to be called Red Eyes Black Chick, and has now been reverted to Black Dragon's Chick. I don't understand the reason why they've decided to change the name, but I suppose that's just their decision to make. Element Dragon is a light attribute dragon type level 4 with 1500 attack and 1200 defense. The effect is, this monster gets the following effects while there is a monster with the following attributes on the field. A fire attribute, this card gains 500 attack, and a wind attribute, if this card destroyed your opponent's monster by battle, it can attack once again in a row. This is part of a series of element style cards. I mean, you've got one that's a spellcaster, I think you've got one that's a warrior, you've got a dragon, and you've got, I think, maybe a fairy, or there's another alternative, there's about 4 of them. Depending on the attributes you go for is depending on what effects they have. The boosting of this card makes a 2000 attack monster if you've got a fire attribute already on the field, and it doesn't matter if it's yours or your opponent's. The other thing is, if you have a wind attribute, which you might have with the Armed Dragon cards, this has the ability to attack twice. If you can benefit from both effects, you've got a 2000 attack monster that can attack twice in a row. And the fact is, it doesn't have to just attack into monsters. It can attack and destroy a monster and then attack directly against your opponent. Masked Dragon is a fire attribute dragon type level 3 with 1400 attack and 1100 defense. The effect is when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one dragon type monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck. As I said before, the main combination of this card is to have this card be beaten over as many times as necessary to protect your armed dragon monsters, and then you can just special summon the armed dragon level 3. So, for example, if your opponent has 3 monsters on the field, perhaps the best thing to do is actually just go into all 3 of your masked dragons, and then at last go into your armed dragon level 3. That way it cannot be targeted for any more attacks, and you can guarantee its level up effect during the next standby phase. Snatch Steal is an equipped spell card with the effect, equip only to a monster your opponent controls, take control of the equipped monster. During each of your opponent's standby phases, they gain 1000 life points. This can be useful in a couple of ways. For example, if your opponent just has a very powerful monster that they've needed a large amount of resources for, it's a good way of getting rid of their threat and actually using it against them. Alternatively, you can use whatever monster they have on the field as part of a tribute summon for one of your monsters, or as a cost for some alternative type of effect, such as to gain life points from altar for the tribute. Mystical Space Typhoon is a quick play spell card with the effect target one spell or trap card on the field, destroy that target. This is fine, it's just a quick play removal card and it can destroy either yours or your opponent's cards. It can be useful in different situations, for example if your opponent has some type of continuous spell or trap card on the field, or if they've got a field spell. Alternatively, if you've got a card which has an effect which means it has to be destroyed by a card effect to trigger it off, that's another way of using it. This is one of those basic stable cards which is expected within most structure decks, and it's probably very common. You don't need it kind of looked into too much. Let's see if I can find Nobleman of Crossout. That's it. This is Nobleman of Crossout. It's a normal spell card with the effect, target one face down monster on the field, destroy that target. And if you do, banish it. Then if it was a flip monster, each player reveals their main deck, then banishes all cards from it with that monster's name. The benefit of this card is it just manages to destroy and banish your opponent's monster that's face down. There aren't any interactions with it, so it cannot trigger off any type of effect to bring out anything else. The other benefit is if it happens to be a flip monster, it then gets rid of all copies if your opponent's running multiple of those. in all likelihood, you and your opponent aren't going to be running the same types of flip monsters or the equivalents, so it's going to harm your opponent more than it will ever harm you. Even to this day, it can be considered part of a tech card, and it's quite useful for whatever it needs to really do. The next card we'll be looking at will be Premature Burial. Okay, so this is Premature Burial. It's an equipped spell card with the effect, activate this card by paying 800 life points. Then target one monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in attack position, and equip it with this card. When this card is destroyed, destroy the equipped monster. The 800 points as part of a cost aren't too bad. It's not significant considering you start your duel with 8,000 life points. Or sometimes within the GX anime, for example, you start off with 4,000 life points. It is usually there typically for some sort of tribute summon. I think Chaz Princeton used maybe Premature Burial, more likely Call of the Haunted, to bring back a monster and then tribute for his Armed Dragon level 5. The only downside is that it brings the monster back in attack position. If it's not a particularly strong one and you don't have anything else you can really use at the time, then it might not be the most viable card. It's also very easily to be targeted by spell and trap removal. By getting rid of this card, it sends whatever monster was equipped to it back to the graveyard and vice versa. If the monster you summon with this card is also destroyed, then this card goes alongside it back into the graveyard. Okay, so next one, I'm going to be looking for Swords of Revealing Light. If that actually makes itself available. If not, we'll just find it some other way. That's it, Swords of Revealing Light. Yeah, this is a normal spell card with the effect, after this card's activation, it remains on the field, but you must destroy it during the end phase of your opponent's third turn. When this card is activated, if your opponent controls a face-down monster, flip all monsters they control face-up. While this card is face-up on the field, your opponent's monsters cannot declare an attack. This stops your opponent from declaring any type of attack for 3 turns. It's very useful for you to build up your field presence or to tribute into some of your more powerful monsters. Remember, since this came back in 2005, I'm trying to take based on that perspective, not including things such as Synchros, Xyz, Link, Pendulum monsters, which weren't around at that time. At this point, there were only Ritual monsters and there were Fusion monsters. There weren't any other extra deck monsters. It used to be referred to as the Fusion deck. And since this has to be destroyed during the end phase of the opponent's third turn, it guarantees you a full 3 turns of protection. It also flips over any of your opponent's defensive monsters, so hopefully you'll get a clue into how they're building their strategy, or if they're focusing on any particular types of archetypes. As always, we have to have the obligatory Pot of Greed. This is a normal spell card, which just allows you to draw 2 cards. It's banned, and it will never really see re-release. It'll just get new iterations of it. At the time, it was still being able to be used, but, you know, once the structure decks were kind of released, they were no longer considered, you know, useful. Heavy Storm is a normal spell card with the effect destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. This is incredibly powerful as a back row removal card, but it depends on where you are within the duel. If your opponent has a lot of back row, then this is quite useful. If you have a lot of back row and your opponent barely has any cards on the field, then there isn't really any point to it unless you have some sort of secondary effect that you can achieve from either the graveyard or that has a destruction-based effect. Stamping Destruction is a normal spell card. The effect is if you control a dragon-type monster, target one spell or trap card on the field, destroy that target, and if you do, inflict 500 damage to its controller. This is specifically for the dragon type of structure deck because it's only effective if dragon-type monsters are on the field and that you control them. This is a shame that it can't be used if your opponent also has the dragon-type monsters on their field, but I suppose this is kind of the nature of the effect. It does wipe out one of the spell or trap cards on the field, be it your own or your opponent's, and you also do a little bit of burn damage to them, which is always a nice extra feature. Creature Swap is a normal spell card, and its effect is each player chooses one monster they control and switches control of those monsters with each other. Those monsters cannot change their battle positions for the rest of this turn. The benefits of this card is if you can force your opponent to only have the one monster on their field, then they don't have a choice of what they send to you. If you have other monsters on your field, then you can kind of force your weakest monster to be given to your opponent. But it does sometimes require you to use multiple cards to achieve this type of effect. The downside is it does require sometimes heavy investment, but if your opponent isn't aware of what you're running, then maybe this card can be quite useful and a way of tripping your opponent up. It's also disadvantaged based on the fact that you cannot change the battle position of the monsters per turn, and since it's a spell card, it can still be subject to forms of negation such as Magic Drain. Reload is a quick play spell card. Its effect is add all cards in your hand to your deck and shuffle it, then draw the same number of cards that you added to your deck. This is an older version of the card Magical Mallet. The difference being, whereas that is a normal spell card, this being a quick play spell card can be activated either during yours or your opponent's turn. It's advisable to use it sparingly because you don't have that much room in your main deck. You have between 40 and 60 as your card space. The other disadvantage is that, it's probably more effective as it was back in the past. Nowadays, you've got so many different options when it comes to various monsters and types of effects, even hand traps, which means that unless you draw into those cards using this effect, this might be less viable. I think this was used by a couple of characters. It might have been used by someone similar to Chaz Princeton, but I think he relied specifically on the Magical Mallet for that effect rather than this card. The graveyard in the 4th dimension. Let's see where that card is. That's it. That's the card. The graveyard in the 4th dimension is a normal spell card, which just says add 2 level monsters from your graveyard to your deck and shuffle it. You can consider this as a mini Pot of Avarice specifically for level type monsters. The benefit is that it just recovers those cards, but unfortunately they don't go to your hand, they go back to the deck, which means you still need to search into those cards. You do get to shuffle your deck, but there's no guarantee that they're going to end up on the top of your deck, or that you're going to bring them out when you absolutely need them. Let's see where Call of the Haunted is. That's it, there we go. Call of the Haunted is a continuous trap card with the effect, activate this card by targeting one monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in attack position. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. When that monster is destroyed, destroy this card. The benefit of this card is that it's able to just special summon one of your monsters at any point, basically the turn after you've set this card, that being the effects of all trap cards and the downside of all trap cards. And it means that perhaps you can bypass your opponent's battle phase. Once they go nearer to their end phase, you're able to activate this card, summon the monster you need, and then if it's, for example, Chaz Princeton strategy, which is to get the armed dragons out, have the level 3 summoned on your next standby phase, upgrade that to the armed dragon level 5. Alternatively, it can be used as just part of a normal tribute summon for a level 5 or 6 monster, just using the card used by this effect. The downside of doing something like that is because this card is not technically destroyed, it still remains on your field face up, because it doesn't have the reason to be sent to the graveyard, so you are wasting one of your spell and trap zones. But it does have that kind of flexibility to it. Another disadvantage is, unlike Premature Burial, which, though it does require life points to pay, which is 800 life points, this cannot be activated instantly, so it is always going to be a slower option for you. The next card we're looking at will be Ceasefire. So Ceasefire is a normal trap card. Its effect is, if a face down defense position monster or an effect monster is on the field, change all face down defense position monsters on the field to face up defense position. Flip monsters effects are not activated at this time. Also inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each effect monster on the field. This is a good way of burning up your opponent's life points, because the more monsters that are on the field, the more damage they're going to take. That's combined monsters, that's not just your opponent. So if you've got a couple of monsters and your opponent's got a couple of monsters, you could be looking at about 2,000 points of damage, which is definitely enough to at least cause them some concern. Sometimes it can be enough to actually overcome and beat them. The Dragon Speed is a continuous trap card. Its effect is discard one card from your hand, negate the effect of a trap card that targets one face-up dragon type monster and destroy the trap card. Of course, since this is a dragon type of structure deck, that's why this card is available and why it's as powerful as it is. It does require you to discard a card, so the more times your opponent tries to use trap cards, the more costs you're going to have to pay. So the more advantage you already have in your hand, the more likely you are to protect your dragons. However, it's also a target-based effect, so if your opponent is using mass wipe removals such as Mirror Force, this is a card that cannot negate that style of effect. It only works on specifically targeting dragon monsters. And since it only affects the trap effects, it can still make your monsters susceptible to spell and monster effect destructions. Dragon's Rage is a continuous trap card. Its effect is dragon-type monsters you control inflicts piercing battle damage when they attack a defense position monster. You can think of this as Fairy Meteor Crush, but en masse for dragon-type monsters. This could be very useful later on in the game, or when you're in a position where you have stronger monsters on your field and your opponent is playing very defensively to overthrow them, hopefully. Reckless Greed is a normal trap card. Its effect is draw 2 cards and skip your next two draw phases. Essentially, the cards that you would have drawn during those 2 draw phases, you draw immediately. This card has seen a lot of play because it's incredibly powerful for what it needs to be. The downside of it is if you don't get the cards that you need for that duration, then actually you risk undoing any work that you've done because your opponent is able to then outpace you and then hopefully kind of wipe out your life points. Alternatively, this is very much a gamble. If you happen to draw well, then that can be enough to close out the game. Interdimensional Matter Transporter is a trap card. It's a normal trap card with the effect target one face-up monster you control, banish that target until the end phase. This can be useful for protecting your monsters if they are going to be affected by any type of effects, be it monster, spell or trap cards, and it's just useful for that. Alternatively, it can be used to protect them from being destroyed in battle so that you can use the monster during the next turn. The downside of this card is just that it can be negated and it still takes up a slot of your deck, which you might be able to use something more offensive than defensive. Trap Jammer is a counter trap card with the effect when your opponent activates a trap card during the battle phase, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This can be very useful against cards such as Mirror Force or anything that activates at that point, but it's a shame that it has to be specifically during the battle phase and that it cannot be used in response at any point. This is the trap equivalent of Magic Drama, which is the negation of spell cards. The difference between the two is that can be activated during any part of the turn, but it does have a discard count cost towards it, whereas this card has no actual specific requirements in terms of any costs to pay. It's just that it can only be used specifically during the battle phase. And now we're going to be looking at Curse of Anubis whenever that comes up. It's not on that page. We'll find it. There we go. That's it. Curse of Anubis is a normal trap card. Its effect is change all effect monsters on the field to defense position. Until the end of this turn, the original defense of those monsters become 0. Also, their battle positions cannot be changed. The benefit of this card is that it can completely disrupt your opponent. If it's activated during your opponent's battle phase, then it prevents those monsters from going back into their original positions, assuming that they're running mostly effect type monsters. The concern is if this is faced off against a normal base deck, for example, some of the Gemini monsters are normal types, that means that actually they can bypass this type of effect, and your monsters also get changed to defense position if you're running an effect monster mostly as part of the deck, and it can end up costing you more than your opponent. It's also subject to being negated, so that's also a bit of concern. To get a perspective of how these cards play and kind of the costs attached to them, we're going to have a quick market watch here as well. We're looking at the Yu-Gi-Oh card market to see what the current valuations of those cards are and whether there's any point in kind of picking those cards up. I'll give you my honest, genuine opinion as someone who has been playing the game since inception actually. I think I started roundabout when the game actually started as well, so yeah, I have a lot of experience with it. And I can give you guys a little bit of like advice as to kind of what you need to be looking out for in terms of pricing guides as we carry on. So first card that we're going to be looking for is going to be the Red Eyes Darkness Dragon. Red Eyes Darkness. And I'm going to quickly see what the coding on these cards are. SD1, so that's just the codes and card numbers are separated into 2 sections. So you have the initial code, which is on the left, which is typically like a 3-digit code that refers to the specific boosters set or structure deck in this case, and the second part of the code actually happens to be what number it is within that specific set. So for example, with Red Eyes Darkness Dragon, the set code is SD1, so structure deck 1, and its card number is EN001, so that means it's the first card within the structure deck 1 set. So I'm looking for SD1. It's not, there we go. SD1 is that one. According to this, let's have a quick look. Let's move you out the way. Let's move the camera out the way so we can actually have a proper look. Here we have the, there are 806 items available, anywhere ranging from 5 cents. And the price trend is €1.51. The 30-day average price is €1.91. The 7-day average price of €2.34, and a 1-day average price of €2.59. Its highest peak point was on the 27th of November this year at €7.19. I think the only reason for this is because of the rarity on it, and it must have been a very decent quality to be getting it at this point. Considering the date and age of this card being 17 years and the rarity on it, I could see you picking it up if you are a Red Eyes Darkness. Well, if you're a Red Eyes Black Dragon player, if you actually like this type of card, then it might be more viable for you to use. Or even just as a collector's item, it's nice. But to get good quality copies of this card, I don't think you're going to be seeing those, at least not anymore. 17 years of preserving a card is just... it's just not going to be manageable. Red Eyes Black Dragon. So we're looking for the SD1 version. There are 82 hits on here, so there are quite a few options. I'm going to try and find the specific one for SD1. Where are you, SD1? There we go. That's the SD1 version. So this is specifically to the set. There are 423 of these currently available. Anywhere ranging from 2 cents is the lowest price, so these will be mostly the damaged ones. Price trend is 34 cents. Average 30-day is 36 cents. 7-day is at 36 cents, and the 1-day average is 19 cents. So yeah, since the 1-day average is there, that's what you're looking at for that. That's last purchase was on the 27th of December, so that was yesterday. Since I'm live streaming on the 28th. 7-day average is just basically you take the week's average and then you divide that basically to find out what the mean price is. And here is the point where the highest point within what looks to be 3 months, because this one is ranging from the 30th of September all the way to the 27th of December. The highest price point was on the 26th of November at €2.49. With this one, I wouldn't be looking at picking it up because there are so many variations on Red Eyes Black Dragon. You can get this artwork in plenty of other sets. It might not have the same, unique coding as to being part of this particular structure deck, but so long as it runs the purpose, there's no need to be buying it at that type of price. The lower end prices, I would definitely consider like picking up a couple of copies if kind of that's what you're into, if you like that particular card. I personally do like the Red Eyes Black Dragon cards, and so I do actually have, funny story is I actually do have quite a few of the Inferno Fire Blasts, because I did actually think they were going to be viable. It was a bad purchase for me. It didn't actually make me any money. There were other cards that I have bought up previously which have made the market rate. So there's the viability in that. So I would advise, unless you are very specifically knowledgeable of the market, not to at least attempt it. The card we have here is the Luster Dragon. I don't know what happened to my voice there. There are 831 items available, and it goes anywhere from 2 cents, and the price trend is 7 cents, 30-day average of 10 cents, 7-day average of 9 cents, and the 1-day average price is 8 cents. I can kind of understand this. It's just a normal dragon monster unless it received specific support as a mini archetype. I don't see this actually changing. Highest price was at 38 cents on the 31st of October. I don't think that's that bad. If it's near mint condition, arguably it's 1900 attack beat stick. You could possibly justify going for it. Okay, so twin-headed behemoth. Where are you? That's it, SD1. So there are 477 of these available at the moment, and anywhere from 2 cents, probably those the worst condition ones. Price trend is for 15 cents, 30-day average of 11 cents, 7-day average price is 12 cents, and a 1-day average price of 20 cents. This had its highest sale on the 22nd of November at 35 cents. I don't think that's necessarily that bad, considering I don't think it's going to be purchased on its own. It would have been part of a bundle that people were buying. you know, you're not going to buy this just off a marketplace for this, considering that the shippers are going to need to also have their postal costs included. So someone might have done a little bit of a shop just to get a collection of cards. Yeah, it's fine for pricing, I think. I do have a couple of copies of that card, and at one point I will be filming hopefully a video of, well, showcasing some of my cards. This is the Armed Dragon level 3. It is well, there are 851 of these available. Price ranges at 2 cents with the highest price, well, the price trend of 5 cents, 30-day average of 17 cents, 7-day average of 11, and someone purchased this within the last day for only 5 cents, so they got a bargain. This has had its highest price on the 19th of September, and it was for 63 cents. If you're really into this archetype, I don't think 63 cents is going to be that costly. I do think it's probably worthwhile at that price, only if you are, yeah, a really determined player of that style of deck. It's also useful considering that the Lightning Overdrive a few months ago had the release of you know, the alternative Armed Dragon cards. If you're wanting to run that, then you actually do need these cards. Armed Dragon level 5, there are 747 of these items available. Their lowest price is from 2 cents. The price trend is 14 cents, 30-day average 13 cents, 7 days at 17 cents, and 26 days as the last day purchased. This has had a couple of days where it has received probably a little bit of traction. There seems to be 3 points of interest. So someone purchased this yesterday at 26 cents. This is the 16th of October, which was at 28 cents. And on the 29th of September at 25 cents. Arguably, I would say that's not too bad. I think it's, for that pricing point, it's worth getting it. It's not, you know, breaking the bank. So next card is Black Dragon's Chick. So SD1. Yeah, as you can see here, and this confirms it as well. The original, you can see here that the name up there is Black Dragon's Chick. The actual original name is Red Eyes Black Chick. That's the original printing on it. So there is potentially a little bit more interest if you can get cards that have their original text to them. There might be a little bit more value to them. There is 406 items of this available, anywhere from 2 cents as a starting, with a price trend of 21 cents. The 30-day average price is 18 cents, a 7-day average price of 20 cents, and someone purchased this at 49 cents only a day ago. Yeah, so that's fine. I think that's okay. I don't think it's too pricey if you're trying to build a core using pure Red Eyes style of deck. This did receive some attention on the 29th of November at 75 cents. I think you are starting to go a little bit too steep for it. And definitely at 89 cents on the 12th of September is far too much for this card. You can get, this is a common card, easy access. Even if you can't get it in the specific structure deck with its name, I would strongly advise going for one of the alternatives for cheaper. It doesn't have any other difference other than the name change. Okay, so we have Element Dragon here. There are 457 copies of it available. It's ranging from 2 cents and a price trend of 27 cents. The 30-day average price is 19 cents, 7-day rolling average of 17 cents, and a 1-day, someone yesterday picked it up for 50 cents. I don't think it's necessarily worth 50 cents. You know, the other element cards all do pretty much the same thing. They just have different variations on the combinations of attributes that are on the field and the effects. Someone purchased this on the 21st of November for €1.50. Definitely too much. If I thought this is too much, I definitely think paying 3 times the price, definitely far too much. Someone must have either got it high rarity or they've just not bothered to actually research the market before just blindly purchasing the card. In terms of Masked Dragon, we have 1,111, very random number, 1111, available on the market, and it goes for the lowest price of 2 cents. Price trend is for 12 cents, the 30-day average is 22 cents, 7 days at 17 cents, and a 1-day average of 19 cents. The highest price it went for was on the 27th of November at 79 cents. I don't see this as necessarily that big of a deal. I think when you consider that it's a basic core for a lot of dragon type decks and it's just a plain searcher for most dragon type monsters that are 1500 attack points or less, I can understand why you might be willing to pay slightly more for it. So we got Snatch Steal next, and this one there are only 175 of these copies available. It kind of justifies why the pricing is a bit higher on it on the average. I mean, even though it does start off with 2 cents, considering this is a 17-year-old card, yes, most of them are going to be damaged. The price trend is 72 cents, so that is quite costly. There is a 30-day average of 67 cents, 7 days at 65 cents, and a 1-day average of 23 cents. I can understand why this is, because if this ever gets kind of unrestricted, people are going to go mad for this card. It's just very powerful and very useful for what it needs to do. At its height, it did receive a purchase on the 18th of November at €2.99. Definitely whoever is doing this, they have definitely been ripped off. They can get other alternative copies. And this is the same card, whichever pack you get it from. If you get it from a new, more reprinted set, then that's fine. If not, then, you know, it's just very confusing. I don't actually understand. Let's see if there's anything on the insights. No, I think insights just give you an idea of if this card is being featured in anything. And this week it might have been on some of these, so Deck Spotlight, DDDs, so, you know, Snatch Steal makes sense. One of their cards actually has this one here that's pictured has a Snatch Steal type of effect, so I can understand why you'd want double utility from Snatch Steal. Mystical Space Typhoon. So there are so many copies of this. There's 78 hits on this, just this search. So to find the specific copy of this, SD1. Where are you? Not that one. I think I just saw SD1 somewhere. Yeah, that's it. There we go. So you can see here it's just a common card, so it's not anything worthwhile you having any sort of rarity buff on it. There are 454 of these items available, and the price trend is 2 cents. The price trend as an average is 14 cents, 30-day average of 17 cents, 7-day average of 13 cents, and a 1-day average of 10 cents. At its height, it was purchased for 50 cents on the 29th of September. I don't think this is necessarily viable. They've got, as you said, there were 78 hits that I could see searching just on this. So within those frames, if you were to take this number, the 454, and multiply that by that number of hits, you've got tens of thousands of copies available just on this market, disregarding every other secondary price selling set you can have available. Let's see if there's any comments or any insights. So, yeah. Okay, so this person's just commenting on, the usability of the card. And again, this just gives you kind of an insight into what it's been used in terms of like a discussion video, or whether it's actually had any use within any sort of decks. No Man of Crossout, so we've got SD1 there. And this one, there are 441 copies of this card. They are starting from 2 cents with a price trend of 45 cents, 30-day average price of 41 cents, 7-day average price of 37 cents, and a 1-day average price of 1 cent, of 34 cents. Its highest, purchase was, there are 3 actually. There's the 20th of December, which is the most recent at €1.49. This was also on the 5th of December and the 1st of December. So someone has been trying to buy up a few of these copies. It's okay, and tech-wise, it's definitely a decent card. As you can see, this has had some implication within this Edison format, which is GOAT format's younger brother. So it's just kind of like it's a specific format that players enjoyed. That's the reason why it's kind of receiving any sort of attention to it. And a premature burial, we've got SD1. This is going for, there's 304 copies of it. They are going at a price trend of 2 cents. The trend is 37 cents. 30-day average is 38 cents. 7-day average price is 31 cents, and an average daily price of 20 cents. This, at its height, was being sold on the 20th of November at €1.50. I don't think this is necessarily viable, or I don't understand why you'd go for it. I'm sure there are actually options that are much cheaper, and there are the cards that do pretty much the same thing. So in here, this just gives you an idea of what it's been discussed in. It has this GOAT format section. There is something to do with a ban list filler. So this is someone's dream list, which might include, I don't know, banning this particular card for whatever purpose. Swords of Revealing Light. So the Swords of Revealing Light is that one. Here it says that there are 400 copies available and they start from 2 cents. The price trend is 14 cents. 30-day average price is 13 cents. 7-day rolling average is 12 cents, and a 1-day average of 5 cents. The height of purchase was at 50 cents on the 29th of November. I don't see this as too much of a price. I think that's kind of justifiable for what it needs to do. I can understand why someone might purchase it at that immediate price. So in terms of Pot of Greed, okay, so this one, they have 335 of these available, pricing from 10 cents. I'm guessing people are trying to hedge a bet that this at some point will be unbanned, or at least you'll be, having semi-unlimited on this. Its price trend is at €1.54, 30-day average of €1.39, 7-day average of €1.61, and someone purchased it yesterday at 80 cents. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Again, lots of people are just trying to hedge their bets to see if this card will at some point come off the ban, and to at least get a copy of it. Someone has been a bit strange and has actually purchased a version of this on the 18th of December at €3.90, but yeah, it's definitely not worth that price. Do not get it for that. You've got so many copies of it. You don't need to get it specifically from this format or from this structure deck, especially if people are prepared to kind of sell it to you at that price point. Yeah, don't waste your money there. Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm. There we go, SD1. Bear in mind this is a common card, so it shouldn't be too much in price yet. There's 245 of these available, anywhere from 2 cents. The price trend is for 40 cents, 30-day average of 38 cents, 7-day average of 21 cents, and an average daily price of 10 cents. This was last purchased yesterday. It's at its height was on the 29th of November at €1.15. I wouldn't advise getting it at this point, considering that you can also get copies of Harpy's Feather Duster, which are relatively cheap and have been reprinted. This particular card is not particularly that useful. You've got so many copies of it, it's just not worth even going for it. You could get it for a fraction of that cost, if less. Okay, so we have Stamping Destruction in this one. It mentions here that there are 1,416 copies available, so there's plenty of options, which also justifies the pricing on this. I mean, it's anywhere from 2 cents, the price trend of 4 cents, the 30-day average is 10 cents, 7-day average is 11 cents, and a daily average price of 4 cents. At its highest, someone purchased this on the 2nd of October for 49 cents. I think that's a bit extreme. You've got so many copies of this card, there's just no reason for getting it at that price point. So now we've got Creature Swap. There are 853 copies of this card available, and they range from 2 cents with the price trend at 21 cents. It's a 30-day average price of 13 cents, a 7-day average price of 19 cents, and a 1-day average price of 25 cents. At its height, it was purchased for 50 cents on the 23rd of December. Again, I don't think that's necessary unless it's at the highest grade quality, but I doubt it. In which case, maybe it's viable for 50 cents, but yeah, I would, if possible, try and go for something a little bit cheaper, just because I just don't understand why you'd want to kind of focus in on a card which can be quite niche, you know, at best case scenario. Right, so next one is Reload. Okay, so yeah, the reason is it's kind of looking at other cards, it's looking at the Boral cards, so that's why I can't finding Reload on its own. SD1, there we go. Because it was being confused with some of these other cards. This one, there are 839 of these cards available. The lowest price is at 2 cents with a price trend of 17 cents. Has a 30-day average price of 13 cents, 7-day average price of 23 cents, and a 1-day average price of 39 cents. The highest price point, someone purchased this on Boxing Day for 39 cents. I don't think that's necessarily too bad. I don't think it's that big of an issue to get it at that price, but they'd hopefully be expecting it to be kind of at the highest. You know, it needs to be at the highest point for it to be worthwhile. It needs to be the highest rarity, or it needs to be the highest quality. There aren't too many copies of the... okay, so this hasn't really been reprinted. I can understand why there aren't too many level monsters out there. You've got like an ultimate insect, you've got the Silent Swordsmans, but they have their own version, which can upgrade. They've got a Silent Magician. You have the Armed Dragons. You have the Horus the Black Flame Dragon. Might be missing one or two others, but from my point of view, yeah, there's a couple of other ones that I can kind of picture, but I can't remember specifically what they are. If you do know, put those in the comments down below when this video does come live. It's anyway, with this one, there are 503 of these available. It comes from about 2 cents, an average price trend of 6 cents, 30-day average of 12 cents, 7-day average of 12 cents, and a 1-day average of 5 cents. At its height, it has sold on the 9th of August for 38 cents, which is quite expensive. It's definitely not viable. I can understand why maybe if you love like the Armed Dragon cards or level cards, you might want to carry maybe 1 or 2 copies. But otherwise, I'm sure you can just get this from like a bargain sale somewhere and people not be, people will probably give you that card rather than kind of keep it for themselves. Right, Call of the Haunted. Okay, so here is Call of the Haunted. There are 475 of these cards available. Anywhere price point of 2 cents, the price trend of 9 cents, 30-day average price of 14 cents, 7-day average price 9 cents, and a 1-day average price of 2 cents. At its height, it was going at 43 cents on the 9th of September. I don't understand why you'd want it for this, but I suppose 43 cents isn't too bad considering what it is and what it does. This has interactions with similar discussions inside here. For example, with marauding, this kind of marauding captain, it has something to do with the history of the gadget archetype, and it has some implementation on this particular area of insight. So I can understand why it has some common uses throughout various decks, if you will. Ceasefire, this has 464 copies available, starting at 2 cents. Price trend is 26 cents, with the average 30-day price of 21 cents, a 7-day price of 20 cents, and the 1-day price of 5 cents. This had at its peak achieved on the 23rd of November, 99 cents. I can understand why you want to be getting this card, as it's, is quite powerful. It's understandable why you would look to, for example, attracting to that type of card, but yeah, I do think it is still a little bit too steep for my liking of it. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. In terms of insights, yeah, there is a little bit of interaction in the Gravekeeper archetype. Something to do with a particular play style of deck, and I can understand why you'd be kind of wanting to see this card. The Dragon Speed SD1, yeah, there's not too many variations on this card. Okay, so there are 382 copies available. Price trend is 2 cents. Price trend itself is 11 cents, with an average 30-day of 19 cents, a 7-day average of 16 cents, and a 1-day average of 10 cents. Someone purchased this for €2 on the 29th of July. That is way too extreme. Someone has either got themselves the newest version of the card, or they have been absolutely scammed. There is no reason for this card to be at this price in any way at all. Just don't do it. There's no reason for you to get yourself into that. Okay, so we have Reckless Greed. There are 661 of these cards available, averaging a price of 2 cents. The price trend is for 10 cents on an average 30-day of 19 cents, 7-day average price of 12 cents, and a 1-day average price of 10 cents. At its height, it was €1.99 on the 29th of October. So that's very bizarre. Maybe if people are taking this card in, then maybe they can justify it for competitive series, but otherwise I just don't understand why you would kind of focus in on that. It does have some interactions here within a couple of different insights, and is justification for why you might want to be getting like more versions of it. Supporter. Okay, so here we've got the SD1 version, and here there are 1,010 copies available, and the average from 2 cents. Price trend is for 9 cents. 30-day average price is 8 cents. 7-day average price is 11 cents, and a 1-day average price of 8 cents. This received a height on the 9th of October for 29 cents, which I think is useful. I don't think that's too big of a concern, and I don't think it's that bad to pick up if you want it. 29 cents isn't going to break the bank. Okay, so we have a Trap Jammer here, which has the availability of 403 items. This averages from 2 cents with a price trend of 34 cents. The 30-day average price is 25 cents, 7-day average of 51 cents, and a 1-day average of 39 cents. Someone purchased this on the 1st of December for €2. It's way too expensive. There are so many other trap cards that have this type of effect or even better. So I would not be getting it for anywhere near this card's price. Maybe 33 to 40 pence. Even if it's highest rare, best condition, it's just not a good idea. And we have Curse of Anubis. This has 553 copies available, starting from 2 cents and a price trend of 19 cents. The 30-day average is 14 cents, the 7-day average price is 26 cents, and it has a 1-day average of 16 cents. This has received a little attention of 39 cents on the 12th of November. Same applies on the 16th and the 17th of December, so someone's been in the market for these particular cards. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think you're going to be breaking the bank anytime soon, so why not? For 39 cents, it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to cause you any particular issues. Generally, I like the deck itself. I think it's quite balanced for what it can do. I do love Red Eyes Black Dragon anyway, and any support they receive I am fully happy to include and to actually purchase. I did, as part of this, I actually got both the Zombie Madness and I got this Dragon's War deck, so I'm familiar with how both decks play. They do need more support going into the future, but that's as we're kind of waiting on that further support. I'm sure it will happen at whatever point it does arrive. So we're going to hop in to, I think, Master Duel now. I think that would be a good idea. I did say to you guys on here that I would be putting Master Duel up. Looking around to maybe doing an hour or two on here. just so that I can, get my hours up a little. Do you guys still enjoy Master Duel? For me, I do enjoy it. Unfortunately, I don't have all these gems, and I can't afford to be, spending all the money, so I can't necessarily buy, all the best decks or all the top cards, so there's that. And it's just loading up, so we just need to wait for it to load. That's it. If you guys really enjoy my content, I'd really appreciate if you consider subscribing or even just watching another one of my videos. It helps to at least boost my hours up, and hopefully that will get me into the YouTube partner program. I'm on the subscriber count at the moment, but always getting it up would be a good idea. And any support you can have, whether that's just, watching my videos, hopefully they entertain you. It's taking a little second to get running. There we go. That's it. There we go. Okay, so there's a bit of download to happen. I didn't realise there was a download on here, but it's only 17 megabytes worth. It'll take like, less than 20 seconds, really. I'll see what the updates are. I think there's a new pack somewhere in here that's, okay, so you've got an upcoming Forbidden and Limited list update. This is, you know what, we might as well have a look at the update. I'd like to get you guys' opinion on this. The implementation of the Forbidden and Limited list is planned to occur on the date listed below. Please see below for the changes that are going to be made and our reasoning behind these changes. So this comes in effect on the 10th of January next year. So as the time of this, you're looking about 2 weeks. Forbidden and Limited list implementation. We have compiled the trends and results of decks used in ranked duels and events and will limit cards and decks with outstandingly high usage and win rates in line with their impact on the metagame. The changes made to the list reflect our aims of preventing decks from being too difficult to counter and ensuring that the game's tactical element is not compromised by overly short duels. Cards affected by this Forbidden and Limited list will be colour labelled as follows. Blue is cards for which the maximum number of copies has decreased. White, cards for which the maximum number of copies has increased. So in terms of cards that have been limited, these are Block Dragon, Supreme King Dragon, Starving Venom. Let's actually have a quick look as to... Block Dragon is to do with Adamanticators because it's just able to kind of special summon itself and then summon into various other cards. It's just a pain. And Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, I think that's to do with the fact there was more sort of pendulum-based, not Yuma Tsukumo, is the other one. Yugioh Sakaki, that's it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5's main character, his cards, I mean, there are so many various cards, and Yuri, who is the Starving Venom Dragon's user, there are cards support to be used for a variety of options. It can be used in its own right, just to draw into additional cards, which can be helpful. It can be used to draw into the Exodia pieces, or to draw into more draw cards for Exodia pieces. It can also be used to search for specific cards that you need or have been restricted. They're more difficult to kind of manage. Pot you want, you choose that one, the rest of them go into the deck. So there isn't any real reason. It's not that of... There's a pendulum deck used by the Master of Endermion that rely on some of the spellbook cards. Predator Plant offers Scorpio, so as they're getting rid of one of the boss monsters, they're actually encouraging the introduction of an alternative fusion monster. And Supreme King Dragon Dartworm, it's just part of the archetype that's used with Yuma, I think that the 4 characters that actually end up using, when combined, become that city. I just don't think that's necessarily needed for that much. And ABC Dragon Buster, I don't think people are playing that often with that card, so that's understandable. It mentions here as part of it that replays of duels played before the limited list becomes effective and make gameplay if you watch it back. And it says here dismantling bonuses resulting from the Forbidden Unlimited list. So if you've got more copies of these cards that are Forbidden Unlimited, you get an extra... There's an incentive for you to craft. And this will be available from the 10th of January, 7:30. Schedule the maintenance in, but who knows if that maintenance goes above that point, or you get a... They extend it all the way up to the 14th of February at 3:59. That is because everyone will be hopping into Master Duel straight after this implementation happens, and that often means that people have... There's 2 copies because the reduction in the max copies of the card per deck due to Forbidden Limited list is also 2 copies. If the card has no finish, 30 craft points will be gained, the usual 10 plus the bonus of 20. The usual 10 craft points will be gained when dismantling past 2 copies. That's all that's saying there at the end. And then you're going to have a new selection pack here that, that been tech. Let's get the 2 login missions. So I got a little something for competing in that video games section thing. You know what, since I am just looking for those extra 5 points, well, I'm looking for a couple of points, we're going to watch into a duel. Just because when you watch one, you get an extra 5 gems. And since I'm so it's being a bit of a pain at the moment here, so we're going to try and reintroduce Master Duel, see if that's going to work with us today. If not, we'll try in my area at the moment, so I can kind of justify and understand why it's the internet's playing up. But I hope wherever you are, you had a nice Christmas. For me, I kind of spent mine on my own, and that was just for the situation in the UK, and we're going through quite a few strikes at the moment, and it was just not worth me going to visit my parents just because, you know, people go nuts anyway over Christmas. They kind of freak out, they go extreme. So my thing was, I don't really want to be involved in that, you know. People are going to go further extreme when they see that there aren't any, limited trains going. Okay, so seem to have been able to get back into the game to start it again. see if you're going to work this time. Okay, so there's a mission here. Okay, so since it announces that I've watched the thing, so I get to do that. Let's just go quickly to the shop. So these are the new cards that they're talking about. These are powerful subset of cards anyway that have been used within Master Duel. Yeah. You've got the Ice Jade cards. This, what is this? Supreme Sea Mare. If this, you can send one aqua monster from your deck to the graveyard. During your end phase, you contribute this card, then target one aqua monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So it's a good way of you researching out your aqua type monsters. Yeah, I can kind of understand why that's in there. This card also, Yamatako Orochi, is this card on the field can be treated as a level 8 monster when used for a synchro summon. A synchro monster that uses this card as material gains this effect. 8 or lower, it gains 800 attack and defense. 9 or higher, it can inflict piercing damage. Okay, so that's fine. It's not that viable a card, it's just kind of something that's here or there. There are a few in here that do actually look quite decent. So you know what I'm actually going to do? I am going to actually craft a couple of these packs just to see what they're like. Yeah, you can see Casamola. Yeah, there are a few unusual cards in here, but they kind of pique my interest. These packs. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a couple of these packs. Let's get the first one. Oh, we've got hopefully a secret rare in this one. Oh, there's an ultra rare in there. Ah, nice. So we've got a Dogmatica card, DD Patrol playing a Sword Soul monster. This Divine Dragon Titanomachia is special summon card, cannot be destroyed by battle. You can only use each effect of the following effects of this card once per turn. You can banish 3 of these cards from your graveyard and or field, including this card on the field. Destroy all cards your opponent controls. During the end phase, you can send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard equal to the number of dragon monsters you control. This special summon card cannot be destroyed by battle, so you need to find a way of special summoning this card. But even still, it's actually not bad. This is an insect monster. This is the one I was actually looking at as well. When this card is normal summoned, special summon one level 4 or lower insect monster from your hand, and banish one level 4 or lower. Okay, and then increase its level by the. Okay, so this card happens to support level manipulation, and it's also a tuner monster, so you can actually go into decent monsters very quickly. Terrors of the Overroot. What does this card do? This is the big card that was kind of shown. Target one card your opponent controls and one card in their graveyard. Send that card. It's not bad. That is not a bad effect. I'm going to see. I've got room for one more pack. Let's see if this makes any difference. No, this doesn't seem to be like. I suppose since I've got an extra row in the other one, it's going to give me fumble on this one. Okay, so we have got a second one of these dragon cards. We've got a Sword Soul card, so that's useful. Transcicadia, I think that's actually a good card. This is Dogmatica. Okay, this is a ritual card. Don't double dust Tornado Twins, targeting him. Okay, no, that card isn't that useful. No, it's okay. The cards I got. If flee, I can get something more. let's just skip that and just see what we've got. Nothing useful, because it can continually upgrade itself, so that's okay. Yeah, I think that's okay, that's fine. Let's go into the duels now, shall we? I think I'll be sticking with Super Heavy Samurai, which is the current deck I was running, or I could go with Chronomaly one. Okay, I've got the Shark deck up, so I might as well start with that. See if that's going to make any difference. That's kind of why I wanted to look into the Aqua type monsters, to see if I can get anything decent. Okay, so I'm facing off against a Japanese player. I'm always a bit nervous facing off against the Japanese. They tend to be quite good. Drawn okay here actually. This card will protect my monsters from being destroyed by battle with non-water monsters. I can go into a level 5 actually here. I can actually go into the rank 5 if I want, or I could just go into a rank 4. I wonder what my opponent is planning here. Okay, so they've gone to standby phase. Main phase, what are you doing? Again, I don't know whether this is technically my connection that's been a problem today, because it's raining quite badly where I am, or whether it's my opponents having some issues on their end. Okay, so they've summoned... Okay. Why would you do that? Okay. That's fine, that's not an issue for me. I can deal with that all day. I was just wondering what you're kind of doing. Okay, so are you doing anything else? This is a Utopia-based deck. That's the idea of it. But even I'm not. You just summon that and you ended your turn. Okay, okay, that's fine. So I'll draw per turn. What do I want? Do I want this or do I want the other one? I think, just for completeness, I'm going to go straight into this one. I'm going to special summon into this one. I am going to overlay into this one, I think. There is a reason I'm doing this, because I can actually do a little bit more damage. Number 4, Stealth Kraken, with its ability, can just wipe out my opponent's cards. Only problem is that this card then becomes quite useless, because it does turn all monsters to Aqua type to Water attribute, so there's no point in me technically playing that card. The best thing for me to do is to go to main phase 2. I'm going to set 2 cards face down. And I'll end my turn. Depending on what my opponent does, I can use this effect, which is just to destroy, as you saw, my opponent's monster, and then they take half the damage. Well, it's equal to half the destroyed monster's attack points. So if I can really kind of run them down, that's always a good thing. So my opponent has what, the ZS, okay. The Vanished Sage, I don't understand why you play that, unless you're deliberately just trying to lose. I mean, it's probably a useful card. If you control the Utopian monster, you can draw one card. Okay. So my opponent is going into their battle phase. Okay, so I think they are just deliberately trying to lose. There's no way you do that unless you were trying to just lose, throw the duel. Okay, so if that's what my opponent wants to do, I'll try and rush them through. It's a shame that I can't technically achieve that yet. The next turn I'll definitely be able to do so, but I mean, you know, they just summon a monster and then they'll lose. Just goes to battle phase, and then with the Abyss Soldier, just direct attack. And with the number 4 Stealth Dragon, direct attack. And then I'll just end my turn there. Okay, so what is my opponent going to do in this case? Just going to set a card, or just end the turn, or I don't know. Right, so they hit the standby phase, they've not done anything, main phase 1. What are you planning? What are you planning? They aren't focusing on doing anything at the moment. They're on 450 life points, so as soon as they actually summon the monster, if it has 900 or more attack points, I instantly win by using the Stealth Dragon's effect. Okay, so my opponent has the Dark Chimera out. Chimera Clad. This is the Dark Zeal weapon. I would have loved for them to have actually had more of these Dark Zeal weapons, because there was only one occasion where a Yuma Tsukumo used this card, and this was against Vector. They were in the Sargasso field. I can't remember what episode that was, but it was near the end of the second season. Okay, so my opponent's just going to attack into this and just defeat themselves, really. I'd love to know from you guys, what did you think of the packs I ended up getting? Personally for me, I thought that Terrors on the Root card, that was brilliant. So you can get to sub out your opponent's card, but if they sub something out that is, you know, happens to be more powerful, that's always where the concern is. So I am just getting, hopefully, into the next gold tier. Okay, this opponent is called Astralize. depending on... Okay, so I get to flip the coin, and I am going to go second on this one. I wonder whether they are going to be running this deck, which is known as Karakuri. It specialises in flipping basically itself from attack and defense position, and then gaining various effects from its boss monsters. I think one of the monsters has the ability to draw cards, another one has the ability every time to destroy a card when a Karakuri monster has its position kind of affected. Okay, so Geyser Shark. Geyser Shark isn't really useful for me at the moment, but Abyss Soldier is actually quite useful because I can actually discard the Geyser Shark, and I don't feel guilty as using that as part of cost. Okay, so my opponent's running elemental heroes of some kind. Okay, so you're going Blazeman into what? Blazeman into what? Okay, so evil heroes. Sunrise. Okay, Sunrise. You are then going to search for your Miracle Fusion. That's fine. That's okay. Because I can send the Sunrise back. Miracle Fusion. You're fusing into what? Okay, so you're fusing those two. You're going to Gaia. I don't understand why you would go into Gaia, because you're not targeting anything with me, and surely wouldn't you have wanted to go into Nova if you could have? Okay, so Neko. Okay, so this one searches for their okay, so I see. So Militia's Edge. That's quite a start of the field, but it's not actually something I'm actually that concerned about. Come on, let me draw. Okay, so I've got a double Ring of Destruction. That is hilarious, actually. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight into Abyss Soldier. Best thing I can do is I can just do this. Use Abyss Soldier's effect. Thank you very much, Geyser Shark. Your services are not needed at the moment. I'm going to send you back. You're going straight back, and that removes your boosts. It also means that I can do this. I can set 2 cards face down, which happen to just be the same exact card, and I'm just going to end the turn there. Before my opponent actually gets to do anything, I am actually going to just destroy their cards if I can. Before, yeah, I really do not want them to do much of anything. Okay, so they're set. A monster face down. Bad idea. Here you go. Here's the first surprise. Goodbye, Gaia. What? Oh, because that is a bit strange. Oh, I think it's because it's immune to stupid thing is it's immune to effects, I think. Yeah, it can't I can't do anything with it, yeah. That's annoying. So I'm going to actually just have to search for the left-hand shark. Left-hand shark. I can special summon it, but I don't know whether it's a good idea to special summon it. You know, I'll just special summon it anyway, regardless. I wonder what this card is. Oh, it's a marshmallow. Okay, so I'm going to take 1,000 points of damage. Okay, so isn't anything I can do. I have to wait until my opponent's turn, hopefully. whichever monster they get, hopefully, so long as it cannot get over either of these monsters, as long as one stays on the field, I should be fine. If I don't, that for me is okay actually. That surprisingly, I'm not too fussed. No, you can do that. Be my guest. This has a this is a this protects from battle. Okay. So Depth Shark, not the card I wanted. So I have to do this. Now I can go into the level 5. Well, I can technically go into the rank 5, whatever it is, this one. It's... Oh. Right, you know what, I'm just going to actually... I'm going to have to just do it this way. Ideally, I would have wanted to have done something a little bit different. But needs must in this case. So I'm going to go into this. And this card is going to be protected from being destroyed in battle, so that's always, you know, that's always useful. They use its effect. I'm going to actually just wipe this card out. And I am going to end my turn there. So I've taken a lot of damage, 2,700 life points I've got left, I lost 5,300, but my opponent is not creeping up into any sort of victory at the moment. They do have 5 cards, I have 4 cards, technically in combination, depending on what they've actually got, will make the difference. But I took quite a bit of a brunting from even my own effect through the Ring of Destruction effect. I did lose quite a few life points. What is my opponent going to do? Okay, so you've got Shadow Mist. I'm not going to allow that to. I'm not going to allow that effect to happen. I'm not going to allow it to happen. That card is going to go. I'm not letting it do its thing. I know you get your mask change or whatever you want, but really, it's not something I'm that bothered by. You can add one hero monster from your deck to your hand, so you're able to then just bring out another hero. Okay. But the thing is, I've stopped you from getting your mask change cards. So you can end up with whatever card you want, but essentially, if you cannot... Okay. What? Elemental Hero Flash. Okay, so you've got 3 banished cards, so, okay. So my opponent thinks because I have... they do realise I can actually destroy this card, don't they? Just use this effect. Goodbye, Marshmallow. And just in summoning this card, I meet the requirements to defeat my opponent. That wasn't a bad duel actually, it was a little bit challenging, but I do think I did actually quite well from that. And I kind of knew when to hit the elemental hero cards. I knew not to let Shadow Mist kind of accelerate a duel. Okay, so I've got 100 gems from that. Let's see for me going back there. I want to see if I... So I get one of these mission things. So that is... Let's go into the shop and see to this. Okay, there's no rarity on this, so I'm going to get normal cards. I like the fact that I got Dogmatica Punishment. That's always a good card. I don't know how many of those I've got, but this Transcicada, I think I've got all copies of that now. This one I've not got, Sunlit Sentinel. We set this card from, okay, once per turn during the standby phase after the set card. You can special summon this card, then destroy all cards your opponent controls in this card's column. It's an okay card, not my favourite. If this card is normal, special summon, send one monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw one card. You can banish this card, special summon an Ice Jade. Okay. So this is a kind of like combination that's useful for water attribute decks as well, so that's fine. What is this? Imprudent Intrusion. Your life points must be lower than your opponent's. Destroy one monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to the difference in life points. Special summon one monster from your graveyard with attack less than or equal to the difference in life points. So, yeah, you're able to get something quite powerful if you need to. What is this? Votis. When this card is normal summoned, you can activate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can banish one excavator monster to add one monster with its same name to your hand from either your deck or the other excavator cards. So it's a good way of getting actually back cards. Once per turn during the end phase, if the card is in your graveyard, was it sent there this turn, you get. And if you do, place it. Okay, so you're able to reorganize your deck according to how you need it. And this is target one banished, blah blah blah, and one effect monster your opponent controls of the same type. And okay, so that's just a negation effect. I believe these cards are actually quite good. Let's kind of just have a look at the. I want to know how many of the Dogmatic Punishment I've got, because these cards are very powerful, and lots of players do actually just run punishment, even if they're not running anything in particular, anything else. Okay, so that's not one of those. I've got 2. That's fine. I'm kind of starting to build up some of the powerful, like, base cards. Okay, so that's one of those banished cards. That's fine. I was actually quite happy with that, what I got in that selection. Let's see if we can go for a couple more duels. The thing is, I really like the Shark style of deck, but again, it's very much I'm trying to build more Aqua type support. Okay, this is a Japanese player, and again, I'm very nervous about playing Japanese players. They tend to be very good, unless in that last example, that one I think just took pity on me and just gave up. They just wasn't interested and just did what they wanted to. Provided this one's not like that, I'll have a bit more of a challenge to deal with. Right, so I've drawn lead to start off with. I've got a triple dust tornado in my hand. When you draw triple dust tornado and you don't know what to do. I've got a bad combo of cards here. I've got a bad combo of cards. Yeah. This is hard. Thing is, I can actually bring this card out no sweat. That's not the issue. Issue comes is that I've got Hamon on the field. Hamon's already here. Alright, it's first thing I'm going to have to get rid of that Fallen Paradise. Cerulean Skyfire. My opponent has made this really, really difficult for me. Okay, so first thing is first. This is going to be a nuisance. So I'm just going to actually have to summon this card regardless. I'm then just going to have to set things, and I'm going to have to destroy things in a certain order. So the first thing I'm going to have to get rid of is this Cerulean Skyfire. Second thing I need to get rid of is this card. I'm going to set 3 cards face down and end. That's it. I'm going to have to play this very strategically. I'll just end my turn there. That's it. Not even gonna... I should have attacked, actually. I should have attacked into that. Right, first things first. I'm going to then trigger off this effect. They're going to use Hyper Blaze. I'm gonna react again. I'm getting rid of your Fallen Paradise. Hopefully this chain actually resolves in the way I want it to, so I can actually get rid of the cards necessary. Okay, so there's that. There's that. And there's that. Okay, so I've wiped out the cards that I needed to of my opponents. Great. I would have liked to have... I should have gotten rid of that. That was the only mistake I made. I should have gotten rid of that card. Yeah, that makes that there's going to be a big target for an attack now. Only thing I can say is next turn I can for sure be guaranteed... Okay, right. But, it's going to then be able to... It can't summon into anything next turn, I don't... Yeah, I think... here we go. Yeah, this is going to be very bad. But, Hyper Blaze, what's Hyper Blaze? Right. That Fallen Paralysis is a pain. Because it protects your opponent from a target. I can't target with card effects. That's where the problem is going to be. The fact is, I cannot actually do anything with this card. That card is going to destroy me. Oh, very good. Okay, so Hyper Blaze is activated. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I played that a bit wrong. Probably had... That's fine. I'll go second this time as well. Okay, so this is what as well. I've got a double dust tornado. That's great. My opponent is running Sun Seeds. So this is the Sunvine archetype. Sunvine, Sun Avalon. Okay, using Sun. You can add one Sunvine spell or trap card. Okay. I have read what the Sunvines do, and there's just generally one particular card that is a nightmare. It's kind of like their boss monster. And it can end up with like 4,000 attack points and the ability to attack multiple times in a turn. So there's Sunvine Healer, you get life points. Okay, so you go into another Sunvine. Okay, so you're actually not going to Aromatherapy. Jasmine. 1 for 1. Okay. So you are getting rid of Generator. Okay, so that's the Generator. Okay, so it's some sort of hybrid Sunvine / Aromage strategy. Using this effect to do what? You okay, your tribute and special summon a plant monster. Okay. Okay, I see kind of where you're going. So you're just using this part there. Okay. Right. Okay, so that's a Rika monster. So they use like tributes. They can get rid of my cards. That's a problem. Yeah, they've got a very unusual style of deck here. Yeah, they've got a really interesting hybrid plant type deck. It's a combination of the aromatherapy cards, Aromage archetype. They've got the Rikas, they've got the Sunvines, and they've even chucked in a lone fire blossom in here. Yeah, this is not looking too good. And I can technically get rid of a couple of their cards, but beyond that, maybe not. Do not help. Strenna. Okay, what's Strenna do? Strenna, you can detach and target one plant, monster or Rika card and add it. This card with exceeds, material is pivoted, special summon rank 5 or higher plant exceeds, and attach this so you can actually go into a high Rika monster. Avalon Melius. If this card is linked, send special on one Sunseed genus Loki or Lochi from your graveyard. So you can use those two. And you're going into your Benkalansa. Okay, so this card. Okay, so this card's a problem as well. Alright, this is maybe a bigger problem than the other cards. Here we go. This one stops me from running more than one spell or trap per turn. Right, strategically, There isn't too much I can do. I think the best thing for me to do is to just summon this soldier and use its effect. Now I can use it in two ways. I can either use this against that card, or I can... Ironically, they don't seem to need too many spell trap cards to defeat my deck. They seem to have got a consistent strategy here. Oh, here we go. See, I can't even do anything. They take the damage, and then I can't do anything, so I can put 2 cards face down, and that can be it. That is the be-all and end-all of my turn. Fantastic. Ah, dear. Yeah, I've lost next turn. 5,300, 7,100, 9,500. We've got about almost 10,000 points of damage. Here's to top it off, Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm just going to wipe away my 2 back row destroying cards. Thank you very much. And there we go, swept away. Okay, so with their Aromatherapy Jasmine, they're just going to go into the Rosemary. It boosts their attack points up. Just get it over with. You're going to beat me in like 1 second, so you might as well just attack. I love the design of it. I think it's really clever how they've actually interpreted it. I just think I've just done it really badly. I think my deck is just badly constructed at the moment. I think probably I've got the Aquatype monsters to make it reasonable. I just don't have all the extra monsters yet. That was a bruising defeat. Lose and I'll lose the rank, so ironically, if I go down anymore, I'm going to be losing my rank. In this deck, I've got a Panther Shark, I've got a Crystal Shark, so technically if I can get these cards out, I should be okay for the rank 5. If not, alternative plan is to either go into the left-hand Shark or into the Abyss Soldier. My opponent has banished a Gravekeeper. Right, so Gravekeepers are a problem. Because of that Echo Valley card. So this one has the effect, I'm sure, while Necrophilia is on the field, this card and any card in your field zone. I don't know, does that include? Right. I'm going to have to set this face down. I think, hopefully I can get rid of this card. But that's just surmising I can actually do anything. going to be using its searching effect. This is one of those blocking style of decks, I think. Oh, here we go. Hopefully I'm actually able to get rid of this card. Otherwise I am really stuck. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't work. Here's another loss, I think. Yeah. They've just kind of locked me out of doing anything. Set that card. I can't even negate the effect. I need to have something like a skill drain, or I need what is it? Breakthrough skill, or even an effect vein or something to just get rid of this. That's my entire hand. That card just wiped out my entire hand. Look, everything gone. Everything gone. And there we go, we've got the extra advantage. Thing is, whilst that card is available, I'm sure most of these Gravekeepers are... okay, so most of them are spell... How can you use more than that? Okay, each player can only control one type of monster. Oh, one type of monster, so... oh, that's why, okay. Technically I can work under Rivaling Warlords, it's just at the moment my deck is not benefiting from this. Yeah, I've lost this turn. Yeah. And I've now been demoted thanks to that. Right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back and just look at the... I'm going to go into the shop. I'm going to go into the booster little packs. The bonus packs, just get R4. I am going to look at trying to build a different deck quickly. Okay, so there's that. What are you? What are you? Okay, that 6 is not useful. None of those cards are really going to do anything for me, if you know what I mean. Insects. Should I build an insect deck? Should I create a new deck? Let's see what I have to work with in insect type monsters. Filter. Where is the insects? Insect. There we go. Insects. Kind of a range of insect monsters. No, I've got a couple. I've got a few, but they're all. Look how many I'm missing. So I can. Can I convert any of you? Nope. I wanted to see if I can convert any of these cards. I can dismantle this one. Oh, there we go. So that one can be dismantled. Yeah, there's one. The ones there are fine, I can't touch those. Most of these I can't do anything about dismantling, so that's quite infuriating. It is what it is. But in the meantime, C, I'm going to just filter by water, and I'll just put I'm just going to filter by. Thing is that, look, you can see here I've got a variety. There is a variety I can pick from. It's just choosing as and when what cards go where. Hopefully we can make something based on this if I can. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I'm going to kind of leave it there for the moment. If you guys enjoyed my series and any of the live streams, please, I encourage you to watch the others or any other videos. It really helps to support the channel. I'm off to probably lunch now. I might come back for a second stream a bit later on today. If not, I'll probably be working on one or two other videos that will be featured at some point on the channel. Until then,